Hey, what's up, mountain bikers? I just interviewed Matt Chappell from the Truckee Dirt Union, and he filled me in on all kinds of amazing things that are going on in the local North Lake Tahoe and Truckee mountain bike community. So if you want to get up to speed on all the latest updates to the mountain bike trail system and more, watch this video and make sure you watch it to the end because we're going to tell you how you can get involved. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Dave Gove. I service the North Lake Tahoe and Truckee, California region, and I help buyers and sellers, investors and developers achieve their real estate goals. All right, hey everybody, Dave Gove with Coldwell Banker Realty here in Truckee, California, and today I've got a special guest with me, Mr. Matt Chappell, and Matt is the owner of OLAB, and he is also in charge of, or at least one of the founding partners of, the Truckee Dirt Union. Matt, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing great. Really happy to see a lot of the stuff that's been going out on the trails out there. So I want to thank you for that, for starters. I've really been enjoying the reroutes that you guys have been doing out on the trail system formerly known as Jackass and now Donkey Town. It's fun to see all the little hips and berms and jumps and watch the evolution of that trail. Anyways, just wanted to catch up with you today and tell us about where you're at with Dirt Lab, how you got started, and what the plans are.
Yeah, I think we're in our third year, so Dirt Union.
Dirt Lab. Dirt Union.
Yeah, actually, I really like that. You had that in sort of a text message to me when we were corresponding, and I kind of like that, the Dirt Lab. But I see that you're just sort of like combining the two things that I'm primarily involved with. OLAB being a design agency that I co-founded 13 years ago here in Truckee, and then the Truckee Dirt Union, which is 501c3 nonprofit committed to creating positive outcomes for mountain biking in Truckee. And it's 3 years young, as I'm saying to date. I'd like to stress that we're continually evolving, and ultimately we are 100% focused on creating positive outcomes for the mountain bike user group. And trail building is one of the tiers that we're focused on. But the reality is that we're like the positive outcomes piece of our supporting statement is really we're going to sort of create improvements wherever there's an opportunity. And because we're all passionate riders, trail building is just one opportunity that we see really relevant right now as Truckee continues to grow and more people start to enter the forest on two wheels. There's been such a massive boom, across the whole country in mountain biking over the last 5 years. And we felt as community members that we wanted to step up and help create positive outcomes for that user group. So that's kind of where we are to date. And 3 years ago, our first sort of mission critical initiative was to kind of preserve access to the forest. And that was right when COVID launched. And there was this looming threat that USDA was going to actually close down access to the forest. But we worked really hard to preserve that access so that we could all continually recreate and sort of keep our sanity during the COVID times. And we did that. So we kept that access open to the forest, get off the ground, working with the Forest Service, but it quickly evolved. And, we find ourselves continually putting together trail project proposals and maintaining various amounts of single track trails that are under our wing, trying to provide just, as much mountain bike stoke as we can in the community.
So tell us about how has your relationship with the local land managers in the U.S., you said USDA, so that's U.S. Department of Agriculture, is that right?
Yeah, ultimately it's the United States Forest Service, and we work primarily with the Truckee Forest Ranger District.
You're working hand in hand with the Forest Service on some of these initiatives?
Yeah, on the Donkey Town Trail Network specifically, that's all on United States Forest Service land.
Gotcha. And
but there are other land partnerships as well. You've got, everything in our area kind of comes to, where it intersects, you see like landowner change, and we have like primarily the Forest Service, but then we've got Sierra Pacific Industries is a big landowner in the area. We've got the Truckee Donner Land Trust and the state park system, all of which we have open lines of communication with, are seeking to create more and more positive relationships with.
Gotcha. And they're receptive to your efforts?
That's correct.
Okay, great. So you mentioned that you're a 501c3, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a nonprofit organization. So anybody that wants to donate to the Truckee Dirt Union, then that is a tax tax write-off, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. And how's fundraising been going?
We haven't been approaching fundraising very aggressively, and that's sort of strategic. At this point, we see ourselves as a startup project-based crew, and we're looking to add value to our community. We're not looking to actually generate funds yet. However, we've been doing so passively because a lot of people have really been supporting our efforts and the community's really gotten engaged and is behind what we're doing. So that's why we did get our 501c3 so that we didn't have to keep saying no and we could start saying yes. Nice. But we're not promoting that aspect. So if you wanted to give us money and you wanted to back our efforts, we'll receive it for sure and we'll put it to real good use. But that's not our primary focus.
Gotcha. How many people involved in the organization?
To date, we have I think we're approaching 450 official members. And we generate about a 10% show up to all of our maintenance events, our trail building event days, which is awesome. So we recently, exemplified in our most recent day, we did a partnership with Sierra Buttes Trail Stewardship, which is a really well-established trail stewardship that exists just to the north of us.
Yep.
And we took 43 people from Truckee out to Loyalton, or just about out to Loyalton, and we serviced a historic track known as the Badinaw Canyon Trail. And we got about 43 people out on that trail for about 4 to 5 hours.
That's
and
awesome.
Just buffed it out. Yeah, it's a really cool little corner of the valley, and we're hoping to help Sierra Buttes Trail Stewardship get more people out on that trail and see where that leads us.
Well, that was a day that I was supposed to join you guys, but as you know, I've got a 6-month-old baby at home, and sometimes we just got to take it day by day.
I know that spot you're in.
Yeah. How was that trail? I've heard that the nickname for that Badinaw is what, Raddenraw?
Raddenraw, Badinaw. Yeah, that's kind of what we worked with Kurt Gensheimer on to come up with, just to help kind of give people an idea of what it's going to be like. And the neat thing about that trail is its location. You can get these extremely epic views off the top of the fire lookout. You can, see all the way north to the Buttes. You can see all the way down the Pacific Crest. You can see down into Reno it's an active fire lookout off Babbitt Peak, and it's one of the highest peaks to the north of Truckee. And it's just a super remote area. There's nobody out there. So if you go out there and you're looking to go on a ride, you're not going to see anybody. You might see somebody at the fire lookout, but unlikely that you're going to see another trail user. We've come very fond of that experience.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is drive about 35 minutes north of Truckee to get there.
35 minutes to the trailhead?
I think that's what we're claiming, but I might retract that statement because I haven't actually done it myself. Yeah, since I haven't been riding, but I hope to get out there soon. So yeah, I think it was 35 minutes from Boca. We left from Boca and we drove the dirt road straight out there.
Oh, wow.
So you get to go through some epic terrain, even just going on the adventure out there, and it feels the Wild West out there. The trail itself is really rugged and old school, and that's one thing that we're starting to find we really like. A lot of the new trails are being built to a new standard, which is a really shallow grade, and that's a historic trail, so it's actually really steep. And that's the value of resurrecting these historic trails, is that you can get a trail experience that has this historical vibe, which is much of what Downeyville is. So that's when you get those steep fall line trails.
Those are great, man. I do love the new flow trails that have kind of become ubiquitous lately. But those of us that used to race DH with a hardtail and a Judy, a Mag 21 fork, I think was my first bike. My first front suspension bike. Kind of used to some of that old school rugged stuff. So it's nice to see that some of that's going to get preserved.
I would agree. When we all started mountain biking, we were just going with available terrain, and much of that was historic or hiking related. And now that we're building all these modern mountain bike trails, like flow trails that are very use case specific and really sort of work with our bikes and, have jumps and banks and berms, there's also this desire to ride, the old school terrain. And it's nice to have a little bit of everything. So that's kind of why we put the effort into that trail.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I definitely want to get out there and check it out. What do you see as the future for mountain biking in Truckee?
Ultimately, what the Dirt Union is focusing on is making our mountain biking trails awesome. And really we feel like we have some really good trails, but they get beat to death. And for the longest time, many of us, like during the busier months, like the hotter months, dusty months, right after July July 4th, we just hang our bikes up and stop riding. And the reality was that none of the trails were seeing as much maintenance or getting as much maintenance and upkeep as they might need, right? And part of the unique attribute of the Dirt Union is that we're creating this robust volunteer stewardship group to maintain these trails so that it doesn't come at this excessive labor cost to the community.
Sure.
And that's one of the value adds. We have all of this awesome talent. We have trail builders in our community that have been building trails for 30 years that have created these awesome tourism attractions. And so we wanted to create a platform where we can showcase their efforts and then also give them resources and support and labor by way of adding more volunteer trail builders to the mix to make sure that we're elevating the quality of riding and then setting a really high bar, you know. So as we're building more and more of these jump trails, much like a park crew at a ski resort, we got to get out there and service the takeoffs and the banks and the berms like on daily intervals. And for the last 3 years since we launched the Dirt Union, that's what we've been doing on Jackass Trail, now known as Donkey Town. We've been getting out there on daily intervals, like making sure that it's running really smooth and then also working with the Forest Service to create trail improvements that, you know, we all kind of agree upon and see as a benefit to the community. And so like a great example of that would be the Captain Caveman Trail that we created. That, you know, creates a really nice connection between trails above all the way down through Jackass Trail. And then the exit, we did an environmental reroute that pulled the trail off of the drainage that used to exist at the bottom of that trail. And then, you know, that was the primary objective, was to get the trail and to get all of the mountain bike tracks and tires like out of the water drainage. And that's a really important thing. But we didn't just stop there in our direction stance, and we said, oh, what's the best outcome we could actually manifest in this moment? And so we ended up getting a mini excavator out there. We got massive support from the Forest Service. We even got fire trucks out there to do like hose lays with water. So we were working with really densely moisturized soil, and we were able to create those really nice deep bank turns. There's a chicane and a couple of jumps right there at the bottom that all creates a real seamless entry and exit to the trail network. And none of that used to exist. You know, it used to be that you would just bank a hard left turn right on the drainage, and it would throw you at high speed right out onto the fire road where there's climbing traffic from fellow mountain bikers, and there's also like driver traffic there. So that whole intersection got a big reboot, and it's really made it possible just to go all the way down to Highway 89 and get as much vertical relief as possible out of that ride, which makes it so much fun.
Nice. And do you guys have plans to expand that trail network over there?
That's our dream. Yeah, that was kind of what we got started on. You know, back when John Groom was working at the Forest Service, we were working with him and Katie Mansfield to kind of come up with the dream case scenario. And the reality is that we're tracking an incredible amount of trail users there. Sometimes between 3,000 and 5,000 laps are being tracked during the busier weeks of summer. That's just 1 week. So weeks. Yeah. Wow. So we just added our own tracking device, and over a 9-day average, we were seeing 130 laps per day. Wow. In October. That's not even, that's like a shoulder season, right? So what we've created is questionably the most popular trail in Northern California. And so we want to use that as a case study to showcase how we can create an educational platform for community stewardship and maintenance, and then take that into our other trails that we want to build in town so that it's not a heavy labor burden to any of the other user groups or the Forest Service themselves.
Gotcha. How has the creation of the Dirt Union been received by some of the other organizations in town? Because we have got Truckee Trails, and who else is out there?
The Truckee Donner Land Trust is also another major player in the space. They're awesome. Truckee Trails Foundation. I definitely cut my stewardship teeth and advocacy with Truckee Trails Foundation. And then all the bike shops too have been part of the platform and that we've stood upon in our local community. I think the big idea behind the word union is to create unity, and that was one thing that we were hoping to accomplish, because we felt like there was a bunch of disparate groups working similar but not the exact outcome that the mountain bike user group was really thirsting for. And we wanted to sort of Jackass area, we wanted to showcase the potential of what could be built in our community, legally and sanctioned and supported and maintained from volunteer labor force. And we've done that as a case study. So now we have that to lean on. And what you see now is inspiring other groups. Like even Tamba reached out to us this year, and some of their builders had some really complimentary notes about how a lot of their work on the Stanford Rock reroute was inspired by what we've done in the
Awesome.
Donkeytown area. And
Yeah.
as we build out, I mean, there's a boom of trail building happening across the entire country.
Yeah.
And what we want to create are these unique experiences, specifically in the sort of Donkeytown area. You've got this Johnny, who's the legacy builder there, who's created all
Yep.
these like caricatures, and the naming convention that he has is, he just has this certain style. It's not this sort of like a run-of-the-mill trail network. It actually has a lot of character and thoughtfulness, and I think that's why we're all drawn to it. It just feels
Yeah.
like it has a lot of soul beyond banks, berms, jumps, turns, step downs, and all this sort of interactive trail riding and feature-rich experience or feature-rich design to the trail. There's also this backbone and story development and storytelling, and we all love that about that trail, and that's kind of what we want to manifest and then help flourish. As such, we want to take that idea and work across the entire community and all of our sort of forgotten trail networks that we're calling them to make them see their truest potential, working with our legacy trail builders and landowners, land managers to create the best outcome possible.
Awesome. So other than trail building days, volunteer days, what other community activities do you guys have envisioned for the future?
We really want to create engagement points with all of our users. Trail building there was such a massive need for filling this gap in our community, and stewardship and maintenance and education was where we started first. And we did that by way of getting all of our, members, as many as possible, out with these trail builders to start to respect the land and to learn what it takes to build a trail. And we're hoping that translates into not only a more well-kept trail, but like a user group that respects these features and doesn't just go out there and thrash upon this manicured dimension. So we can help, that's the overall intention, and also to pay it forward and to get our youth organized, and so they can come out and dig with us too.
Nice.
We just started doing that this year, which has been great. We had a video premiere down at Alibi, and we showcased a film. It's called Bike Town. Free Hub Magazine put it out, and that film talks about several case studies that are parallel to what's happening in Truckee that have happened in other communities in the United States. And I would say that those community case studies that they showcase are several years ahead of us with how they've approached mountain biking and how they've brought in all these different groups to create a more cohesive trail experience across the board. And we wanted to bring that to Truckee and sort of open up everyone's aperture to the potential and to showcase this idea of collaboration, which we're massively stressing, collaboration and the idea of the union and coming together and creating these cool outcomes for mountain biking.
Are you seeing, when you're getting these groups of people, I think you said the last effort you had was 43 people. Are you seeing people that may not have connected with each other in the community starting to, engage in more meaningful relationships with other fellow mountain bikers because of these efforts?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's actually been amazing how, we've got, someone, like yourself or me or, one of our builders. This guy shows up all the time, and he's showing up right beside an individual that, just, works at Google and just moved up to Truckee,
Nice.
and wants to engage, just a super good mountain bike rider, but wants to engage and wants to give back, and a multitude of levels, not just monetarily, but wants to actually put a shovel in the dirt and learn how to shape trail and sort of get out in the forest. And there's a big movement getting off the computers, getting off the technology, and getting back into the forest. And it's meditative, it's amazing.
Do you have any more? Go ahead.
I was going to say that's actually been probably the best thing for me, the greatest surprise. I've kind of been living my life, between work and being a father and riding my bike like you, and trying to find that balance with health and well-being. And
I think anytime that you can get outside in the woods and just be out there, obviously, my number one thing to do is go out there and mountain bike. But I have worked on some trail crew days before, and just getting outside and moving your body and getting fresh air and getting away from the din of civilization for a couple of hours and just all the distractions and, the BS that goes along with it. It's just like this primal reset,
It really is, it's like going into the forest for 45 minutes, for me now, it's like I like to go into the forest for like 4 hours, and I come out a changed human being, I'm much more grounded, and that's what we're sort of seeking. And much like jumping in the lake or getting your feet in the sand at the beach. It's the same benefit that we all get. And I think, you know, I also like exercise, you know, and
Yeah.
I really love the concept behind CrossFit, but I don't want to go into a gym. I love the idea of like
Sure.
this optimized dose of fitness, you know, that
Right.
allows you to get the full body blood pump and interacting with other human beings.
Yeah,
And I've
but
been,
you can certainly get all
I've
that
been,
with a Maddox and a shovel and a couple 5-gallon buckets
yeah,
and a wheelbarrow and some 50-pound pieces of granite, right?
you can actually like, yeah, you can sort of cross over into that dimension a little bit, but there's
Yeah.
only one snag. There's one snag. And there's something about doing trail work and then having a nice cold beer that sort of washes all that down the tube.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. But I think that's been the biggest benefit for me that I didn't see coming. You know, when we were first asked to sort of launch the Truckee Dirt Union, and that was you know, by a few bike shop owners in town, and also the Forest Service when John Groom was up there. You know, they were like they're really yearning for a communicated group to step up and start to sort of like massage and organize the mountain bike user group because there was such a massive boom of users. You know, we went from
Yeah.
like, you know, maybe 50 people knew about the trail network to thousands. You know, it was like overnight. You know, I used to sneak into
Right.
the forest and hike over these logs and find the secret
Right.
trail. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the internet broke that down and put it out there for everybody to consume. And here we are today when we're tracking 5,000 laps. You know, it's amazing. So
Unbelievable.
yeah, but at the same time, we had to get organized and we had to start to share the sort of like the unspoken word with all of our users and on, you know, pack it in, pack it out, like simple behavioral practices that many outdoor people um, are aware of, and hopefully we can build upon that awareness and grow it and share those sort of details of how we should be going into this space.
Nice. So
Create a more informed user group.
you've got the Dirt Union set up. You've got 450 members. Who else is at the top of the organization besides yourself?
Uh, Good question. Let's see. I think we're at about 5 board members
Okay.
currently, and spread across the community. Everybody has, you know, everyone is a passionate rider. I think that's a really important thing to note. And then everybody joins the board with a very specific and sharpened sword, so to
Hmm.
say. And we have individuals who are really good at the sort of advocacy and policy dimension, individuals that are really good at networking with other groups like CAMTB, which is a group that we're a member of, that's an
Hmm.
advocacy group that actually helps other local advocacy groups,
Oh,
which
cool.
is great. So there's like a wealth of knowledge that we're getting from that entity to help us progress our ideas. And then we have, you know, trail builders to the core that are part of our board.
Right.
Um, yeah, and you know, a couple of mountain bike historians from the area. One of our board members was an original founding member of TAMBA
Oh, wow.
before it was resurrected back in the day.
Yeah.
And TAMBA was, you know, originally had a lot to do with North Lake Tahoe before they sort of became known for everything that they've done most recently over in the
And
South
the
Shore
south.
dimension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're scratching into our territory, and we've got good relationships with them, and we're hoping this next year to get a really killer collaboration off the ground with Tamba.
And for those of you out there that don't know how to get a hold of the Truckee Dirt Union, Matt, can you tell them where to find you?
Yeah, we've got a pretty distinctive website located at truckeedirtunion.org. That's a good place to start, just to learn more about what we're doing, why we exist, what our hopes and ambitions are, and who the board members are, all the way down to how you can get involved. And there's multiple levels. And being a member doesn't mean that you have to ride. We're actually considering you a member, you know, just if you want to have a vocal voice like yourself, Dave, you want to help step up and share, you know, steward our voice into the community.
Yeah.
But really, there's this idea of strength in numbers, and we want to grow that membership list so that we can start to advocate for mountain biking on a deeper and broader level.
Well, listen, Matt, I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day today to tell us about the Dirt Lab. We
Yeah, that'd
appreciate
be
everything
awesome.
you're doing for the mountain bike community out there, and thanks for your time today. And those of you who haven't reached out, go ahead and check out that website and come on out and join us and get involved in the magic mountain biking in Truckee, California.